Good morning, it's Dr. Hodges, and this morning I want to talk a little bit about carbs, and artificial sweeteners. The good, the bad, the ugly, the ones that make you gassy, and the ones that give you energy. So let's just jump right in. Well, maybe I should say this first of all. What is this thing I have on my face? I literally have put benzoyl peroxide, salicylic acid, if there is a cream or salve that you can have, I put it on my face. I am 46. OMG. So let's just get the big, literally mountain or the big pink elephant in the room out of the way. So, because I know whenever you're watching this video, you'll just be looking at that thing like I have been. So, I digress. When I have a lot of folks that will ask me about what is a good carb, and I feel like that's a little bit of a loaded question because there's so much bad information and confusing information on the internet these days. I mean, first you're told that carbs are good, and then you're told that carbs are bad, and then you're told that they're good again, and then you're told that fat is bad and good, and now it's really good with keto, but what about your liver? So, you know, there's a lot of conflicting information, and so sometimes you're just getting a little snippet of about one particular nutrient or macronutrient. And whenever I talk about a macronutrient, I'm referring either to a carbohydrate, a fat, or a protein. And so the little guy we will focus on today is going to be carbohydrates. And so while I was researching this weekend and reading on some different articles, my daughter asked me, "Mama, what's a carbohydrate?" And I realized that not a lot of folks might even know what that is. So a carbohydrate is any food that once it is ultimately broken down, it's going to break down into a simple sugar, and your body will break down that simple sugar to create energy. And so the little bonds between the molecules will be broken, and your body will actually derive much more energy from the breaking down of glucose, which is a sugar, than any other molecule. If you need to know it for Trivial Pursuit, that would be 36 ATP. But it's a lot easier for your body to break down carbohydrates than proteins and fats, which is why I personally kind of think that that's why our bodies may crave those, just because if we're in need of energy, that's the easiest way for your body to get energy. So what do we really mean by a good carbohydrate? And, you know, especially since I'm a bariatric surgeon, carbs can sometimes be seen as the devil. And, you know, for me, it's almost like everything in moderation. But what do we mean by a good carb and a bad carb? I really think that a better way to look at a carbohydrate is what is the effect on your blood sugar and your insulin levels, because that's really kind of what delineates how you're going to feel after you eat a particular carb. So if you have a high glycemic index carbohydrate, ooh, somebody is coming around the bend. Ooh, sorry. Oh, no, okay, that was a plumber. Okay, if you have a high glycemic index carbohydrate, that is going to be a carb that once it's broken down, you're going to have a big increase in your blood glucose and a nice big bump in your insulin so that it can bring down that glucose. You'll have a sharp energy spike, and you're not going to, you're going to derive a great amount of energy from that, but you're also not going to have a lot of satiety because the body's kind of, in essence, kind of working overtime to correct that blood glucose. You have a medium glycemic index, which is going to have a medium spike, and then a lower glycemic index. And so, as a general rule of thumb, if you're a bariatric surgery patient, you're going to have a carb, and for those that are low glycemic index. However, let's say you haven't had bariatric surgery. Not everybody that watches these videos have had surgery, or need surgery, or want surgery. Sometimes folks just want to get some good, sound medical information. And when you are looking at foods, and I was reading an article on what are the top 10 foods that can help you with energy that are not caffeine. What was interesting is when I was going through that list, they were mostly carbohydrates, except for cinnamon, and they were all low glycemic index carbs. And a lower glycemic index carbohydrate is generally one that's going to have more fiber in it. And so it's going to take your body a little bit more time to break down. And you're also not going to have a great big spike in your glucose, therefore not a great big spike in your insulin. Also, that means that you're going to have more feelings of satiety, or meaning feelings of fullness. Can you tell I forgot my selfie stick? Sorry, you guys. So, what are some lower glycemic index foods that would be good for a post-surgical patient? But also, let's say you just want to get more energy without having to drink a 5-hour energy drink. So reach for those low glycemic index carbs, such as, like in the morning, if you're going to have breakfast, oatmeal is a great option. And I know everybody's like, oh, really, oatmeal? Yes, I mean oatmeal. And I don't mean, although I always love the instant Quaker oats with the extra cinnamon, that actually is going to have a lot of carbohydrate in it. That's probably have a mix of low glycemic and high glycemic carbs, like the sweeteners in the oatmeal. What I'm really talking about is get a good steel cut oatmeal. I actually just get the plain Jane Quaker oats, not the instant, and not the 1 or 2 minute quick. I usually get the ones that take 5 minutes, or like the old-fashioned ones that take 20 minutes, but at least the 5-minute oats, because they don't go down to like complete mush. And then I'll sweeten it, or put in a little creamer. I'll have a little recipe down for you guys with how I like to prepare it. It tastes really good. But oatmeal, good option. You need to have something in the morning. If you have been up since 5 and it's now noon, guess what? It's not because you don't have willpower. It's that your body wants some energy. You're going to be hungry. So oatmeal's a good option. Bananas, that's a low glycemic index fruit. Berries, like blueberries, blackberries, those are low glycemic index. Lentils. Lentils are a really good option. Oh, I'm going to cross the street. Lentils are a really good option. They're high in fiber, low glycemic index. I think I made a video on some Barefoot Contessa lentils. They were fantastic. I'm used to doing a lot of seasoning, and the first time I made them, I remember thinking I wasn't seasoning the lentils enough. And in actuality, the most of the seasoning is going to come in the sauce that you make, if you make that particular side. Little FYI. So, darker skinned berries, bananas, oatmeal, lentils, chickpeas. If you can go on to Google, and there will be lists that are made of low glycemic index carbohydrates, and that's what you want to kind of go for. And so if you're looking for a safe carb, or let's say you want a carbohydrate, something that's going to give you like a pre-workout boost, kind of aim for a low glycemic index carb and have it just like 1 or 2 hours before your workout. You don't want it like a completely full stomach whenever you're working out. However, ooh, these people are backing up. They are building like this humongous house next door to us. Look at that big old thing. Oh my God. My daughter thought it was a hotel. So, aim for low glycemic index. I just like lost my train of thought. Can you tell? So before you work out, maybe reach for a banana. That's why sometimes they'll say banana and peanut butter. Maybe an apple is low to medium glycemic index. Sometimes you can have, there'll be different protein bars or different supplements at a health food store or at a runner's store that can give you a little bit of energy. I will tell you, my bariatric patients need to watch out if they're wanting to run a race, because some of those energy gels, they have a mix of caffeine and or carbohydrate, and sometimes it can be at a higher glycemic index, and it might make you nauseated because it could give you dumping syndrome. So I think, to kind of summarize, what is a good carb? I would really say a good carb is going to be a low to medium glycemic index carb And a bad carb would really be a higher glycemic index. So certainly if you're diabetic, unfortunately, got to stay away from watermelon if you can. A lot of the citrus have a really high glycemic index because those things are going to cause a really big spike in your glucose. If you want energy throughout the day, certainly aim for something that will give you more sustaining power. So a lower glycemic index carbohydrate is definitely going to be your friend. So hope that this helped. I'll have part 2 of the good, the bad, and ugly of carbs, and I'll talk a little bit about artificial sweeteners. Hope that this helped. Bye.